Come on. Hurry up. Finally.
Hey mate.
Hey mate, how you going?
I'm so tired.
Really? Why?
Started my shift at 6 o'clock yesterday.
6 o'clock, seriously?
Yeah.
Jeez, alright. That's a real long day.
Hi, my name is Beacham, and me and my colleagues think we have the solutions to many of your problems.
The term wellness has many broad definitions attached to it. However, the one we prefer to use is that workplace wellness is the condition of looking after your workers both mentally and physically while managing to maintain a non-invasive presence within their lives. While Uber drivers are largely labelled as independent contractors rather than employees, we at Uber Help Incorporated believe that looking after their well-being should be the primary focus of your company and could potentially provide the same benefits, if not an increased amount, if such strategies were introduced into the unique company structure that is Uber.
And these benefits may not be limited only to the financial sphere. Another key gain from implementing such initiatives will also make you and your company look exceedingly well in the public sphere, with the social media and the news coverage sharing with the world that Uber is looking after its drivers. It is our hope and belief that by the end of this presentation, that you will agree with us that the workplace wellness is something that simply cannot be ignored and should be integral to any working community looking to maintain a healthy workforce, not only for the potential financial benefits it may present, but from an ethical perspective as well.
Before we can explore the options that are potentially relevant to your company, which is so unique in the way it contracts driver partners, we must consider why wellness is so important in the working world. According to recent studies by Beyond Blue, an Australian independent not-for-profit organisation that works to address mental health disorders across Australia, found that there are approximately 6 million days lost in absenteeism due to wellness-related issues annually, plus an additional 12 million days lost in reduced productivity, known as presenteeism, in Australia alone. This amounts to approximately 33 billion lost annually in the Australian workplace.
We usually associate the term wellness with mental health conditions such as depression and anxiety, or physical health conditions such as obesity and paralysis. However, more often than not, wellness concerns within the workplace can be far more simple, such as stress, and more relevantly, fatigue. Fatigue is a well-being concern that is very much associated with Uber and all other ride-sharing companies and driver workers, as according to the Transport Accident Commission, approximately 20% of all fatal road accidents are caused by fatigue. According to this figure, the relationship between hours spent driving in a shift and percentage of crashes due to fatigue is exponential.
Put it this way, a person who has been awake for 17 hours straight has the same risk of being in a fatal accident as someone who is over the alcohol limit, and twice as likely as someone who's not fatigued at all. As well as this, the dominant mental health issue within Australia has been shown to be anxiety and depression, which make up approximately 14% and 6% of mental health issues Australia-wide. Not high enough, you think? Well, consider this. Australia is only the fraction of the amount of drivers you have in the United States and around Europe, and all the other locations in which you operate. So therefore, the risk of this happening is practically doubled, if not tripled, for drivers within larger, more populated areas of the world, such as London.
A further study by Beyond Blue found that for every dollar that is spent by businesses appropriately and effectively in the action of improving workplace well-being, there is a potential return on investment of $2.30. Additionally, an increasing number of companies have shown the wise decision to increase the amount of financial incentive that they provide in return for the workplace wellness programs participation by employees. Statistics have shown that over 66% of companies nowadays are implementing modern wellness-focused strategies, that an average of $693 is being spent per employee on these incentives in larger companies.
So this brings us to the question, What are you doing for the wellness of your drivers right now? Well, for you, it's a unique case because your drivers aren't actually classified as employees, but rather as independent contractors. And we know that this can't change because according to the calculations of a Fortune magazine journalist with the help of some experts, it would cost you an estimated US $4.1 billion to reclassify your drivers with an estimate of approximately $13,145 per driver. This means that you have no obligations to actually implement wellness strategies or worry too much about how healthy your drivers are, as they are working on their own terms. However, these drivers are still working under your name, so it is important that you still at least make an effort to look after the wellness of your drivers. Currently, you do not have any wellness strategies in place for your drivers at all.
On the note of your drivers being independent contractors, it is important that we acknowledge the flexibility of their working hours. Although it is not intended as a wellness strategy, your drivers are able to choose the hours that they work on the days that they want and for the shift length of their choice. In some ways, this is beneficial for the well-being of your drivers because they are not forced to and have no obligation to work long shifts. They are able to take breaks as regularly and for as long as they wish, although they must recognize that they will not be paid for any time that they take off. So any break they take is detrimental to the income that they earn. Especially considering that it is a common conception that your drivers are earning minimum wage.
You also provide varying yet similar insurance coverage for your drivers worldwide. In Australia, you offer a contingent liability policy worth $20 million each to each of your drivers, meaning that if their own insurance does not cover any crash damages, your insurance will cover the costs. There is a similar policy in place in the United States as well. In London, you have launched a new insurance model which covers illness and personal injuries of drivers as well. These policies are important in the sense that you're not allowing your workers to feel that they will be looked after should any unfortunate accident occur, proving to them that you care about their well-being.
Putting it simply, as it stands, drivers are simply not required by company policy to take mandatory breaks, which has proven to be adversely affecting their performance on the road. While the task of convincing drivers to do this may initially be seen as a huge challenge, it can definitely be accomplished and actually prove to be quite simple. By modifying the existing Uber application on smartphones already used by drivers, we could regulate the hours worked by Uber drivers, compelling them to take breaks, which can be potentially done in a matter of days. This app could be reprogrammed to deactivate every 4 hours for a minimum of 30 minutes and deactivate for a minimum of 8 hours for every 12 hours worked.
A very similar initiative that has already been implemented by a competitor Lyft, who has enforced that for every 14 hours in driver mode, whether they are consecutive or not, you need to take a 6-hour break. This initiative gained them huge media coverage and also proved to be beneficial for the working drivers. So why would we only match our competitor? Our plan is to be better. One up Lyft, making your drivers have more breaks within a similar time frame.
This strategy will prevent drivers from driving tired, which has proven to be a leading cause of crashes for working drivers. And although this may not present any profitable financial gain, what you'll most likely will find is that you will have to pay less compensation claims to your drivers who suffer injuries and their cars that get damaged in crashes.
But why stop there? According to stats, approximately 30% of Americans nowadays weigh enough to be obese, and only 2.7% are in the category that is considered healthy nowadays. With these stats in mind, the app should ideally be further extended to encourage drivers to monitor their own personal health by tracking their sleeping patterns, daily exercise, time spent sitting and walking and running, and allowing them to give feedback on how they are feeling.
The app could be augmented to allow for recording of important data, such as height, weight, and current fitness regime, that would help construct a clearer picture of the individual's well-being as a whole. This will then allow for the drivers to track up-to-date goals the individual has set and offer rewards to the drivers for their achievements via a point system. By achieving these minor milestones, their morale and productivity will be boosted, as proven by Harvard Business Review's research project into the power of small wins.
The app will register a user's geographical location to alert them to any fitness competitions within their respective areas, such as marathons, weight loss competitions, or even just the gyms that are open nearby. This leads us to another point, which would be from entering a strategic business partnership with the 24-hour gyms that are located in Uber's drive-dense locations, offering discounts or deals to Uber drivers in return for promotional deals and the influx of members that will follow. We believe that many high-profile gyms, such as the well-known 24-hour Fitness, would be more than willing to partake in such deals, as the benefits potentially outweigh the costs in their favour. Uber would also make a profit from charging health and fitness companies for this advertisement.
We found that large companies that allow advertising on their apps make 50 cents per 1,000 views, depending on the settlement agreed upon by the partaking companies. Uber has approximately 40 million riders per month globally and has 1 million drivers worldwide. So assuming that every one of those drivers has to cater for 40 million riders per month, that means every time a ride takes place, the customer and the driver will open their app and see health and fitness advertisements. Therefore, on average, the app is being opened approximately 80 million times per month. If you do the calculations, that means Uber will make approximately $480,000 per year from this feature alone.
This is a ballpark figure, as it doesn't consider that drivers and riders would probably open the app more than once per ride, so the profits could potentially soar. The profit earned in the first year could potentially pay off the cost of updating the app.
The app will additionally feature a 24-hour helpline where drivers can ring local Beyond Blue that deal with stress, anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues, and encourages them to talk about any problems they might be facing. It doesn't force them to talk, but at least drivers know that the option to talk to someone that is a professional is easily accessible through their own app. A common issue in many workplaces worldwide is that employers and their businesses do not know how to manage or deal with workers who suffer from such mental health issues. And to be perfectly honest, they don't have to be, as long as they provide those who seek help with the help they need, by making professionals who deal with these concerns every day readily available.
The biggest complexity that arises from implementing these changes is the fine line of which people consider to be intrusive towards their daily lives. The same modifications deemed helpful by some people may be deemed annoying and aggravating to others, which would be the exact opposite of what we would be trying to effectuate. It would therefore be critical to that before enacting any behaviour regarding wellness programs, that we inform people about what we plan to implement, which can be delivered via any communication tool. In saying this, we advise that you do through the update description of the application, as well as a formal newsletter broadcast to all Uber drivers worldwide, ensuring that all drivers are well informed before they commit to any changes that you choose to implement.
Further complications will be the fact that the data in which we seek to gather includes huge amounts of personal information, which is then at the disposal of Uber. Many users may not agree with their personal information being gathered by Uber. For this reason, these health tracking services should be made highly recommended, yet optional to the driver.
Therefore, it is up to Uber to ensure that all data obtained is kept safe and secure.
Now, the question that any modern businessman would be asking: what are the costs? Well, we have done some research into the application designing process and have found that for a company, such as Uber, to completely redesign and construct a whole new application for both your drivers and your riders would cost somewhere between $300,000 and $500,000 for each application designed for each smartphone medium, including Apple, Android, and Windows. So, if this is a cost of reconstructing a new application and sharing it with the world, then we know that for a fact, purely just updating and possibly redesigning features of the current application, the cost will be much less. And for your company, which is worth tens of billions of dollars, then when put in perspective, a few $100,000 doesn't seem too bad.
And not only this, but we may have a solution to cover these costs, and possibly even further your profits. Although it may not seem appropriate to your code of conduct, but advertising could be a very efficient way of paying back the costs of redesigning your application.
In saying this, we strongly believe that the benefits heavily outweigh the costs. With the use of these strategies, you will not only improve the health and well-being of your drivers, but you will also increase both driver and customer loyalty. Drivers will feel as though they are being looked after and cared for by you and your board, and your riders will acknowledge that you are making an effort to protect the well-being of your drivers, encouraging them to support and use your ride-sharing services over others due to not only this, but the amount of money you pay in compensation claims can be greatly reduced. Furthermore, with the recent contemporary world enthusiasm towards wellness, these strategies will elevate your brand image externally within the public sphere, with the social media and news publicising your updated wellness strategies to the world.
We have no doubt in our mind that these initiatives are worth investing into, and whilst it may take time and money to implement, I'm sure the outcomes are worth it. We hope to hear from you soon regarding our initiatives.